What's going on YouTube? What's going on Facebook? I hope you're having a fantastic day. I'm sure a lot of people are not quite thrilled with the news, but I think this seemed to be the obvious transgression for a long time. So Facebook, I know it's inverted. YouTube, you can see what this says. It's the Intelligencer. You'll need a vaccine to eat inside New York City restaurants soon. That's not creepy at all. But it's hard to say we didn't see this coming. So that's the news today. New York City becomes the first city in the United States to mandate a vaccine or the mRNA, Pfizer, Moderna, or I guess the J&J jab, or else they're claiming that you will not be able to enter indoor facilities like restaurants, etc. How will this work? How will this play out in court? How many people will comply? How many people will rebel? I don't know. This is all to be, written as time goes on, if it's not already. So let me know what you guys think, and we'll see what happens, because it really matters how many people go along with it, how easy it is for them to fill jobs, etc., and how many people protest, boycott, or, move out of the city. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. To me, I have dubbed, and listen, I don't mean to be sacrilegious because the Bible is the Bible. I'm not claiming to rewrite it or anything, but just for fun, I call LA and New York City Sodom and Gomorrah now, because those are two cities that I've loved. I grew up going to New York City. I lived in Los Angeles for 7 years. I love LA. I love New York City. I'm not going to either of those cities, and I felt this way for a long time. So they remind me of the modern Sodom and Gomorrah. And, I don't want to go there personally. If other people live there or work there, it's cool. Me, I'll pass. 50 states, beautiful mountains, tundras, etc. I don't know about if there's tundras in America, but I already screwed up. But you get what I'm saying. There's a lot of places I could go. That's not one of them. What's up, people? My coffee's still warm. Sorry if I'm a little slow today, but I'm trying to enjoy the finer things in life. This coffee is organic. I didn't have to show proof of vaccination in order to make my own brew. I guess I'll be brewing from home for a while. It's just a good roast when you make it yourself. I got a pour over. You get what I'm saying? I filter my own water. Life is good. All right, before we start, I just want to show you guys something. Because I know I don't really care. It doesn't matter. People talk. I get it. What am I doing? I'm talking. But, everyone always complains about what I'm saying about the pandemic. I'm going to just show this. I know it's backwards, so I'll read it for you guys on Facebook, on YouTube. You could just read it for yourself. And if you see the date right there, it says September 8th, 2019. So this was like 6 months before the COVID pandemic. I said, medical freedom is under attack in America right now. Medical freedom is under attack in America right now. Unfortunately, most conservatives don't care, and most liberals don't realize universal health care means total government control over the health industry, which will include mandatory injections if both sides sleep. So that was me in 2019 saying, mandatory injections are around the corner. How did I know that? I'm not a secret wizard. I'm not going to pretend to be like the Q people who say, I got secret intel from a wizard down in, San Francisco Valley. No, I knew that because they were already trying to do it. And, in parts of California and parts of New Jersey and New York, they were trying to mandate vaccinations in 2019, and no one was paying attention. Except for, I guess, some Hasidic Jews. Shout out to the Orthodox who were pissed off, and moms, etc. People of all religions came together, and it didn't work because a lot of people were against it, and they didn't have the support. And crazy enough, a couple months later, a pandemic hits, and now all of a sudden they scared the shit out of everybody. Now they do have enough support, or if they don't, they're going to push it anyway. We'll see. And this is my tweet real quick from couple days before the lockdown. Everybody was crying about this tweet then, the same people that are crying about my reporting now. Not that I have to justify myself. I just want to let you guys know, people who watch the show, we talk about stuff like months before everybody gets to it. I said they're going to use this to push medical tyranny, mandated vaccines, government mandated lockdowns, authoritarian power grabs, even bigger speech censorship. Life will never be the same, and Trump doesn't have a magic plan to save you till the end of time. That's what I said before the lockdown. No, anomaly. Trump has a magic plan. I follow X22 report. Anomaly. Trump is going to arrest the pedophiles in August. It's like everybody was crying about this tweet when I said it last March before the lockdown. No, Trump's going to save my whole world. Trump's my whole world. It's like, I didn't say he was a bad guy. I just said he doesn't have a magic plan to save you. I'm sorry. This is a reality movie and you're part of it. Okay. It's not the Truman Show where there's one character, Donald Trump. It's the Truman Show for everybody. You get to be a part of this. You're a playable character. You're not an NPC. No, it's not gonna happen. Joe Biden's gonna get arrested with degenerates. Yeah. I'm like, no, everything I said happened. Every single thing on the sheet. And these morons are still lying. They're like, follow me to the Capitol. August, the audits are going to put Trump back in office. No, they're not. It's time to wake up, folks. Medical tyranny, mandated vaccines, government mandated lockdowns, authoritarian paragraphs, even bigger speech censorship. 5 for 5. These people are like 0 for 50, but they say a few things and people just think they're. Anyway, listen, it's not a competition, folks, but one more sip and then I'm going to start. You see that? Alaska. I love Alaska. I went to Alaska on a cruise. I did an Alaska cruise. Loved it. Every part of it. And now they took away cruises and now it's personal. I love cruises. They're mandating vaccines on cruises. You ticked off the wrong guy, okay? Royal Caribbean, you suck. I was a platinum member or something. You know, you might see me in the casino. You might see me at karaoke. Now I'm not going to be on them ever again until you guys leave us alone with the medical tyranny. All right, let's start. This is New York Post. I mean, everybody's talking about this. I just chose to go to New York Post. I don't know why. New York City mandates proof of vaccination for many indoor settings. New York City is mandating proof of COVID vaccination in order to enter certain indoor businesses, including indoor restaurants, entertainment venues, and gyms. Mayor Bill de Blasio announced Tuesday. That guy is such a loser. It's insane. It's time for people to see vaccination as necessary to live a good and full and healthy life, de Blasio said during his daily press briefing. How come de Blasio doesn't look like a bodybuilder and athlete? That guy looks like a string bean. Looks like he hasn't lifted a weight since 1984 when he changed his name from like Wilbur Wilhelm or whatever, and he changed his name to Bill. He's like, look, I'm Italian just like you. It's like, are you though? I mean, is that even your real name? Anyway, whatever. Anomaly, Bill de Blasio, I get it. Everybody makes up names. You know, this is crucial because we know this will encourage a lot more vaccination. He said, they're not encouraging vaccination. This is what ticks me off. They're like, oh, we're just educating you. Oh, we're just educating you on the vaccine. Oh, it's just educate. Is it are you encouraging vaccination? No, you're forcing people to do it. Just be honest. Just be like, listen, I want to force a needle into your arm. I want to ruin your life until you get it. I would have more respect for these people if they were honest authoritarians instead of like gangly string bean losers who act like they're like Arnold Schwarzenegger or something. It's like, oh, we're just trying to educate and encourage. This is not educating. This is called holding somebody for ransom. When you lock down, put a mask on somebody's face, tell them they can only take it off when they get a jab, you know, by Pfizer and Moderna. Doing great, by the way. We're all in this together. If only I had the revenue of Pfizer, I probably wouldn't even be here. Actually, I would. I would still be here. I would still feel my spirit. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. It's the coffee. It's too damn good. They're not encouraging people. They're forcing people, holding them for ransom and threatening them. This is called a threat. This is called a vaccine threat. You can't work here if you don't have a vaccine. You can't eat here. Food, we need it or else we die. Water, etc. You can't eat here unless you get a vaccine. Just be honest, psycho Bill de Blasio, a.k.a. whatever your real name is. He's calling it the key to New York City pass. Oh, yeah, because I guess vaccine passport wasn't catching on. It was a little creepy. A key to New York City. I've got a golden ticket. I've got a golden chance until the booster comes out. And then I'm no longer fully vaccinated. You have a key to New York City. How long does the key last, Bill de Blasio? Does it last forever? Are you going to give me a key to New York City? Where can I go? Can I go see a Broadway play with my key to New York City pass? How long does it last? When does the booster come out? Do you even know? Do they know? They don't even know. How come they don't know? The science is settled. The science is settled. But they don't know. They don't know when the booster comes out because the science isn't settled because they got to figure it out as it goes along. Hey, Bill, is this vaccine or mRNA injection that you guys are calling a vaccine? Vaccine. Is it FDA approved? Can we get Jen Psaki out here? Is it FDA approved? She keeps saying it is, and I keep getting fact checked for being factual, and she keeps getting them being a PR team for them because they pretty much just PR and pretend like they're fact checking. Is it FDA approved? Let me look on the FDA. Oh, it's not. Oh, it's still not FDA approved. That's interesting. So it's not FDA approved. Hopefully one day it will be. but I get a key to New York City if I'm a good boy. If I'm a good boy and I get my 2 shots of Moderna or Pfizer, I get my key to New York City pass. How long does it last? Until the booster comes out. You get your golden ticket until you got to get the booster. I'm just saying, it doesn't last forever. They're going to tell people in a year who got vaccinated, get the booster shot. Anyway, I got to keep this professional. This is a professional show. Let's see. It says it will require vaccination for workers and customers for indoor dining, indoor fitness facilities, indoor entertainment facilities. He said the only way to patronize these businesses indoors is if you're vaccinated. If you want to participate in society fully, you've got to get vaccinated. So this confirms what I've been saying for a while. Like, I am fully prepared for not entering into this society. Sodomite in chief, Bill de Blasio of Sodom. New York City is the modern day Sodom and Gomorrah. Anyway, I'm fully prepared to not enter that type of society. If I have to move somewhere, start a farm, I don't want to, because I'm not going to lie. I grew up on a farm. People don't know that. I grew up on a farm. I've done farming. I've picked up hay bales. I've done it. I've picked strawberries. I might not look like it, but I have. I don't want to do it again. I'm not going to lie. It's very tough work, and I didn't enjoy it when I was younger. I'll do it before I hang around gangly string being man pretending to be an athlete. Let's play one-on-one in basketball. Let's see who wins, Bill de Blasio. Let's do it for vaccine passport. If I win, I'm more healthy, and no vaccine passport. Anyway, I'm not entering this society. So they're at least admitting now, you can't be part of our society if you don't get vaccinated. Unbelievable. My coffee's too good. I'm sorry. I got to take. So here's my question. I'm not even going to read it. It's just going to piss me off. I'll get back to it. So here's the question I had yesterday, because I understand science. I understand the science of vaccination. I understand the difference between the Johnson and Johnson, and I understand the difference between the Pfizer and the Moderna. I really do. I've researched a lot. The Pfizer and the Moderna are mRNA injections building a spike protein. The Johnson and Johnson are more traditional. So this is my serious question, because they're acting like it's a one-size-fits-all approach, right? We know that everybody doesn't eat almonds, right? Most people, almonds are healthy. Some people, they have reactions, correct? Everybody knows that when it comes to almonds and nuts. Pretty much every food, pretty much everything in society, there's very few things that are a one-size-fits-all approach. I would say water would be one of them. Pretty much, as far as I know, everybody needs water. But most things, most foods, most medications, etc., are not a one-size-fits-all approach. This is just normal, basic science. We know this. This is why we don't force food into people's mouth. This is why we don't force medicine into people, because we understand it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. When you watch the television, folks, what do you see? Hey, get this pill, right? And then it's like, take the pill. And I'm like, I'll think about it. Let me see. And then it's like, if you take this pill, you might have liver bleeding, artery, blah, 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 blah. The guy sounds like he's doing an auction. But instead of selling you a product, he's telling you all the side effects that potentially could happen. Are they rare? Of course. But they're telling you because they have to tell you, because they don't have, or they do have liability for most of these commercials. So they have to tell you. Sorry, ZM, bro. I'm gonna read this later. Or I'm gonna try to read it later, but I'm in the zone right now. No super chats now. Save your money. I can't read them right now. So they tell you all the side effects. With the vaccine, this is not my opinion. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is not anti-vaxxer. I, like many people on this planet, like most people on this planet, have had vaccines in my body. Most people have. Not anti. I'm just telling you. They don't have liability for side effects, deaths, or injuries with these vaccines. So they know that there's side effects. They've already told you. The CDC has come out and said, with this one, Guillain-Barré is rare, but it's a possibility. With this one, myocarditis or heart inflammation is rare, but it's a possibility. They've already told you that it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. They've already told you that there's rare side effects, but now they're forcing it into people. And this is what the question I've had for a while, and I think I got my answer. I'm going to read it for you guys. If somebody has, I know it's rare. I'm not saying it's like common. Everybody's walking around with Guillain-Barré syndrome. But if somebody has Guillain-Barré syndrome, or somebody got myocarditis, whether it be from another one or this one, are you going to have an exception for these people? Or are you going to try to force them out of society for doing what their doctor told them to do? And I got my answer. And the answer is disgusting. And the answer is they don't give a shit What you have, you are gone. This is a band that I like, Offspring. If you guys know the Offspring, Pretty Fly for a White Guy is one of their songs. I'm sure that doesn't go over well anymore. Pretty Fly. Excuse me, sir. Is this white supremacy music? They're like, dude, we made this in 1995. Nobody cared. The Offspring is like a popular rock band. This is their drummer who recently allegedly got kicked out of the band because he has Guillain-Barré syndrome, and they won't allow him to play at venues because he won't get the COVID vaccine because his doctor told him he shouldn't because he has Guillain-Barré syndrome. I'm going to read his tweets. This is not a drill, folks. Pete Parada. I know I've got some unfortunate and difficult news to share. I know many of my close friends and family would prefer to hear this privately first, and I apologize for the public nature of my disclosure. Sounds like he's about to release an alien file. I'm just kidding. But I don't know how to have this conversation multiple times. Given my personal and medical history and side effect profile of these jabs, my doctor has advised me not to get the shot at this time. I caught the virus over a year ago. It was mild for me, so I am confident I'd be able to handle it again. But I'm not so certain I'd survive another post-vaccination round of Guillain-Barré syndrome, which dates back to my childhood and has evolved to be progressively worse over my lifetime. Unfortunately for me and my family, who is hoping to keep me around a bit longer, the risks far outweigh the benefits. Since I am unable to comply with what is increasingly becoming an industry mandate, it has recently been decided that I am unsafe to be around in the studio and on tour. I mention this because you won't be seeing me at these upcoming shows. I also want to share my story so that anyone else experiencing the agony and isolation of getting left behind now knows that they're not entirely alone. I have no negative feelings towards my band. They're doing what they believe is best for them while I'm doing the same. Wish the entire Offspring family all the best as they get back at it. I'm heartbroken not being able to see my road community, and I will miss connecting with fans more than I can express in words. While my reason for not getting this jab is medical, I want to make sure I'm not carving out a space that is only big enough for me. I need to state unequivocally that I support informed consent, which necessitates choice unburdened by coercion. I do not find it ethical or wise to allow those with the most power, government, corporations, organizations, and employers, to dictate medical procedures to those with the least power. There are countless folks like me for whom these shots carry a greater risk than the virus. Most of us don't publicly share a private decision we made in careful consideration with our doctors. We know it's not an easy conversation to unfold. If it looks like half the population is having a shockingly different reaction to these jabs than was expected, it's probably because their life experiences have actually been shockingly different, and their reasons range from consensus risk-benefit analysis to the financial inability to take time off work, lack of health care in the event of potential side effects, to an understandable distrust in a system that has never prioritized the health or well-being of their communities. I hope we can learn to make room for all of the perspectives and fears that are happening currently. Let's avoid the unfortunate tendency to dominate, dehumanize, and shout down at each other. The hesitant population is not a monolithic group. All voices deserve to be heard. In the meantime, I'm in the midst of launching a project and releasing music with my daughter, so please stay tuned for all of that. I deeply appreciate your understanding and support as my family and I find a new way forward. Sending love to everyone who has been impacted by this pandemic in all the ways the lives have been lost and altered. So that's Pete Parada of the Offspring. I know what I'm listening to later this week whenever it comes out. The album he dropped with his daughter. That's a beautiful, beautiful message. I mean, I don't think I could have possibly said it better. I think that's as perfect as you possibly can say it. And, the fact that he stood up against the vaccine supremacists and authoritarian medical psychopaths has now opened a door for him to make music with his daughter, which is beautiful. And I hope he gets millions of streams and can live off that. I will support it no matter how trash it is. And that's great. So this guy has Guillain-Barré syndrome. His doctor told him not to get the vaccination, but he's not allowed in society. And these are the questions that we have to ask. And people have been asking them, and we get our answers. And our answers are the people involved are full-blown psychopaths. The people fact-checking and the people working on the social media level to censor and demonetize content are full-blown psychopaths, okay? How do I know this? If you are like Pete and you have Guillain-Barré syndrome, although it's rare, people have it in this world, do you get a pass? I think they should get a pass. I think a lot of people should get a pass, but let's just start with the most basic stuff. They're not getting a pass? These people don't give a shit about your health. These people don't give a shit about your future. And if that doesn't tell you that, how about closing down gyms? Is our country healthier than we were physically 50, 60, 70 years ago? Look back to certain diseases we had then. Look back, I mean, they eradicated a few, but as far as you look at videos in New York City in the 20s and 30s, everybody's skinny. Everybody's wearing a suit. Our country's probably fatter than they've been ever. They're addicted to more pharmacy pills than they've ever been. We're having more suicides than we've ever had. We're having more opioid abuses and opioid deaths than we've ever had. And our life expectancy is actually going backwards in this country. So the Center for Disease Control and the experts are doing a shit job, considering we have all the technology. We have more access to food. We have more access to everything due to computers. And our life expectancy is going backwards because we're being led by psychopaths. And Big Pharma lobbies both sides of politics, including Joe Biden, including Donald Trump. And I know people don't want to hear that because they think Donald Trump's an outsider. He hired, one of the first decisions he made was Alex Azar, who's a pharma lobbyist, to the head of HHS. So people that are theorizing he got fooled by Fauci, no, he's been bowing down. I was going to say cucking, but that's probably not appropriate. He's been bowing down to Big Pharma since he got in. And now he's a vaccine salesman. Oh, it's because he cares about me. Maybe he's just like everybody else. Maybe he's just doing the bidding of an industry that lobbies both sides of politics and gives the most money to most of these major corporations that control all of the news you watch, from Fox News to CNN to ABC to NBC. Who do you think one of their biggest sponsors is? The pharmacy industry. Who do you think one of the biggest lobbyists the politicians are? The pharmacy industry. Why do they lobby? Do they lobby? They lobby to get their agenda. And I know multiple people who work in the pharmacy industry, and that's all they do is they court a bunch of influencers and doctors and get wasted and try to give them money. That's the whole industry. They're like bribing people in order to push their product. That's cool. That's fine. If it's optional, I don't give a shit, but it's not optional anymore. So now I give a shit. So in general, you could tell they don't give a shit about you because people are fatter than they've ever been. Every commercial on television is fast food and pharmacy pills. People are life expectancy is going backwards. And in the midst of an obesity epidemic where heart disease kills more people than ever, I think, in the last 5, 10, 15, 20 years, now all of a sudden they're closing down gyms and health facilities and sports. You think they're closing down gyms and sports that keep you fit because they care about you? These people don't give a shit about you. And I don't know why no Republican can say this. I think it's because they're just pharmacy shills too. Oh, it'll never be mandatory, but I'm going to inject as many people as I possibly can. Cool story, guys. But in general, okay, so if you have Guillain-Barré syndrome, like Pete, are they giving you a pass? Oh, they're not, because they don't give a shit about you. If you got myocarditis, say there are people who got side effects so severe from the first and second jabs that they don't want to get a third or fourth one. Do they get a pass? I think they should. I think that, they don't, because they don't give a shit about you. What about natural immunity? And I mean, there's a debate going on because obviously it's new. These things are not approved, but in general, science changes, evolves, they're learning. If you have natural immunity from COVID because you got it, are they giving you a pass to not get? Oh, they're not. Oh, they're not, because they don't give a shit about you. What if you're, 18, 19 years old and you're a touring, band member, and you're 18 or 19 years old and the death rate in your age group is wildly, wildly low, and you decide for yourself that it's not worth the risk benefit, that you don't want to get? Oh, they don't have a pass. Bill de Blasio doesn't have a pass. This is authoritarianism. This is medical communism. If you want to call it fascism, you can, I guess, but it's like, call it what you want. This is psychotic. This is evil. And I've warned people for a while. I wish this ended with 15 days to slow the spread. I wish this ended with wearing masks for 2 weeks. I wish this ended with a vaccine coming out that Trump brags about pushing and rushing years in advance, that you're going to put in people's arms and then all of a sudden we're going to get back. I wish that were the case, but it's very clear. The more you comply, the more they do. And I'm telling people, whether you got vaccinated or not with the mRNA jab or the Johnson & Johnson, it's not about, well, I have access to society now, because look what they just did. You get to take your masks off. And all these people are like, I'm taking my mask. Oh, actually, you should put your mask back on. But I just got vaccinated. Oh, well, put the mask back on. If you give up the right to big pharma, to the government, to the major corporations to say, you get to hold me for ransom for as long as you want with a lockdown. You get to put any sort of medication in my mouth or in my arm, any sort of medication. Doesn't matter how quickly it was rushed. Doesn't matter how dangerous it is. Doesn't matter anything. If you give that right to them, you will regret it. I don't care if you got both jabs or not, because this is deeper than, well, I got it, I'll be fine. Well, you're going to have to get boosters for the rest of your life. And if for some reason you or a family member or a friend doesn't want to partake on the 7th or 8th booster in 5, 6, 7 years, maybe there's a reason. You're done. And now it's not just this one. Eventually, maybe there's a medication that you won't want to take that you now gave up the right because you thought it was cool because you got this one. So it's even deeper than just this one. I mean, giving up your right to access of society, very, very, very dangerous. And unbelievable what they're doing. Let me know in the comments what you think, but this is very clear. New York City's doing it. I'm sure LA will follow at a certain point, and this shouldn't be a political issue because it's really not political. I think smart people that are liberal, progressive, conservative, libertarian understand what's going on. But they've made it into a political issue, and they've done it. I think personally, I can't prove this, but I think they've done it to fool you. If Obama tried to lock the country down, conservatives would not have locked down for a single day. If Hillary Clinton tried to lock the country down, you think Republicans were going to listen to Hillary Clinton? If Joe Biden tried to lock the country down in March 2020, you think people in Texas were going to let Joe Biden lock them in their house? But Donald J. Trump was president, and Donald J. Trump rolled out 15 days to slow the spread. And conservatives and libertarians and freedom fighters trusted Donald J. Trump, so they listened to him. And then Donald J. Trump said, actually, we should probably extend past Easter. And most Republican governors listened to Donald J. Trump because he's the leader of the Republican Party. And then Donald J. Trump became he went from a vaccine skeptic to a vaccine salesman and said, I'm the man because I rushed the FDA to get these out 4 or 5 years in advance. If Obama did that, if Hillary did that, if Biden did that, if freaking George Bush did that, if Romney did that, if anyone else did that, everybody would be like, you know what? They're just caving to big pharma. They're just pushing this on us. But because Donald Trump did that, you have a bunch of Trump supporters say, oh, no, Anomaly, you don't understand. He rushed the vaccines to set us free. It's like, duh. No, literally no. That's just what you tell yourself when you join a philosophy of I'm on team red and I'm just going to make excuses for the guy I think's trying to save me. He didn't rush them to set you free because there's nothing free about it. What is free about being held for ransom in order for the government to shut you down, print a bunch of money, send a bunch of money to big pharma, put an injection out to society as behind closed doors, corporations and states are rolling together a digital vaccine passport so you can't access society without the jab. That's not setting you free. That's screwing you over. If Donald Trump would have waited, I doubt he's even telling the truth in the first place, but if he would have waited 5 years, that's actually better. One, the testing for FDA approval would have been normal and not rushed through emergency use authorization, but also they're not going to lock you down for 4 or 5 years. And if you sit in your house for 4 or 5 years because Trump told you to sit there, you deserve to sit there. It's like that's not, if you accept that premise, you get that premise. And this is what Republicans don't understand. I'm going to read this because my buddy Adam said it perfectly in response to my tweet. I said this. I said, I'm a registered Republican. It's true. I switched years ago. I'm a registered Republican. So I focus on them more. They are so wildly pathetic that in 10 years, their philosophy will be Democrats want to force you to get a vaccine for a year or 10 vaccines a year. I'll only force you to get 5. That's what they do. It's like, well, the Democrats are going to lock you down for 6 months. We'll only lock you down for 3 months. That's what they conserve nothing. They're on the same train as the Democrats on the caboose doing half of what they're doing, and they're going in the same direction. I said, all they do is lose ground and people cry when I call it out. And Adam said the perfect response. Adam Brimson, who's a great artist, check his art out. He said, this is how the whole thing works. One goes out with a wild idea way past the mark of the goal, while the other side comes in with a watered down version of their idea that inches people closer than to the goal without even realizing it. So the Democrats come out with this wild idea of lockdowns, forced vaccination, etc., and they take the Overton window of what's acceptable and drive it off the cliff to hell. And the Republicans just do like half of that. And they're like, well, what if we did? And it's like, that's why we lose. And then I call it out and people cry about it. Well, I went to the Trump rally. It's like, cool. So did I. I went to a rally too. But I'm not a pushover. And Emily made a Trump song. Yeah, which is even more reason if I was a sellout or a fake that I'd just shut my mouth and just try to go to meetings and be famous or whatever. But I'm a real person. I don't, just because I make a song or I vote for somebody, it doesn't mean I'm not allowed to tell the truth now. I'm not signing a pact with the devil where I have to sit here and lie to my country in order to achieve some sort of goals of money or power. No, I don't do that. I don't care that I made a song for the guy. He turned into a vaccine salesman. If he was selling vaccines for Pfizer and Moderna in 2017 or 18, I wouldn't have made the song. And I'm not going to take it off because the song still slaps and I mean what I said in the song. But as far as things change, so why would I say the same thing I said 4 years ago? But in general, the Republicans are playing a losing game. I'll give you an example. Right now, Mayor Bill de Blasio, or whatever he pretends his name is, he's doing a mandate for vaccines. What'll happen? We'll find out. How many nurses, doctors, teachers, people, etc., how many of them put their foot down and say no, sue, leave, get fired, etc.? That's what it's gonna come down to. How many people comply? How many people put their foot down one way or another? We'll see what happens in New York City. But while we speak, you better believe that the major corporations of the country, which, by the way, are mostly Democrat, what's one of the biggest economic drivers in Florida? I'm guessing it's probably Disney. I don't know for sure, but they have a pretty big facility down there. Is Disney Republican? Because Ron DeSantis is a Republican? No, they're Democrats. So Democrats control most major corporations in America. Most people, whether it's in Arkansas, Florida, Texas, or Alabama, need major corporations, unfortunately, to survive because they've taken such a huge part of the global market, whether it be Walmart, whether it be Target, etc., especially the food sources. Most of these companies are liberal. You're lying to yourself if you don't think these people are behind closed doors right now trying to figure out how to do exactly what Mayor Bill de Blasio did, a vaccine passport and a mandate for entering their stores. And these stores and these corporations go across all 50 states. So here's what I'm saying. The only way that this isn't going to work is if enough people say no. Whether you got the mRNA jab, whether you didn't, that's up to you. But if you put your foot down and say, hey, I got it, I didn't get it, whatever, but I don't agree with mandates forcing somebody to do this, the precedent that this sets is insane. And fully vaccinated is an interesting phrase because they're still learning how protected you are. And when they tell you to get a booster, you're then not going to be fully vaccinated. So if you think this is a lifetime thing, you get 2 shots and you're good for life and you're free, you're wrong. This is never going to end literally. So the point I'm getting to, the only way to defeat this, the only way to go back to somewhat of a free society is enough people putting their foot down. So this is why I call out Republicans, because they are seriously just losers, professional losers. They stand up there and they lose, equivalent to the team that plays the Harlem Globetrotters who tours around to lose, or a WWE fight where you like The Undertaker. I like Stone Cold Steve Austin. It's all scripted and one of them's going to win and one of them's going to lose. You think it's happening all spontaneously? They already have it planned. The Republicans are professional losers. All they do is lose ground, lose freedom, lose socially, lose everything. That's all they do is lose. They move the Overton window towards the left. Why do I say this? Arkansas is one of the least vaccinated states, right? If they're 30, 40% vaccinated, I don't know what they're at now. Is Walmart going to be able to mandate vaccines in Arkansas? No, they're not going to be able to do what Bill de Blasio is doing. But I can't guarantee, but I bet if I were a betting man, I would bet that they want to do that. And in order to do that, if you can get 70, 80% of the public vaccinated, it's a lot easier to do because people already have it and they figure out, I don't care about that. So Arkansas right now, they couldn't mandate vaccines even if they wanted to because not enough people have them. So what is Sarah Huckabee? I'm sorry, but I'm calling her Sarah Cuckabee Sanders. What is Sarah Cuckabee Sanders doing? Is she standing up against vaccine passports? Not that I've heard. Is Donald Trump standing up against vaccine passports? Donald Trump doesn't give a shit about you. He's selling his product and bragging about being the biggest con artist in modern history who betrayed his supporters. Sarah Huckabee Sanders is marching around Arkansas writing op-ed pieces telling people to get the Trump vaccine. In a normal society, why would I care? Get what you want to get. I'm not going to tell people to get the Trump vaccine. I'm not going to tell people not to get the Trump vaccine. I don't really care in a normal world what you do. I don't tell people what to eat or what to do. That's on you. Where do I go? I don't know. I'm a freaking guy on YouTube and Facebook. Why would you ask me? I'm 31 years old. I'm not like a sage wizard, that tells people what to do or like a psychic. But in general, she is telling people to get it. She's not a medical doctor. Okay, what if people listen to her? What if 60, 70, 80% of people listen to her in Arkansas? Is the virus going to disappear? I mean, we could see, but according to the reports I'm reading, they're saying, well, you could still get it. You could still transmit it. It's better to do, but however, no, they're going to be able to put in the vaccine passport. So these Republicans are selling you out. They're selling you down the river. They're setting you up for failure. They're lobbying the Democrats and the medical authoritarians to dunk in your face. And then they sit there and be like, well, technically I didn't do it. It's like, well, technically you're all frauds. So when we're fighting, if this were a normal world, I wouldn't care. But it's very clear the corporations and the states and the government is trying to put a vaccine passport like Mayor de Blasio and cut your access to society if you're not a permanent slave to big pharma and what they decide to inject in you and when, which doesn't end. I don't care what side you're on. It doesn't end because they're going to push a booster shot eventually, forever, unless it lasts forever. We'll find out. So she's not on your side. She's going to a place where they can't mandate vaccines because not enough people got it, and trying to get them to that critical mass where if Walmart or one of these corporations in Arkansas does mandate it, if they hit 70 or 80%, then all of a sudden they're going to be able to. She's not on your side. Trump's not on your side. None of these people are on your side. You think you're such a big fan. You go to these events so Grandpa Moderna can sell his big pharma vaccine because he works with pharma lobbyists and took pharma money. That's who he is. Grandpa Moderna, the vaccine salesman. But technically, he didn't mandate it. Well, technically, John Stockton didn't dunk in your face. Karl Malone did. But John Stockton passed the ball to Karl Malone, so Karl Malone could dunk in your face. Technically, did John Stockton dunk in your face? No, he's the assist leader in the NBA, and he wears short shorts, and it's a fantastic fashion statement. But did John Stockton not know Karl Malone was going to dunk in your face? No, he purposely lobbed it up so he could dunk it in your face. That's who Sarah Huckabee Sanders is. That's who Donald Trump is. To be quite frank, although I think DeSantis is doing a pretty good job, that's kind of what he's doing as well, trying to tell everybody to get the product that they're trying to mandate on you, and they're going to do it on a corporate level. And they're going to eventually, I'm prepared, I hope not, obviously, I'm prepared to never fly again. I mean, you know, if you read the Bible, I'm not the most well-versed on it, but it says eventually I might have to go to the mountains. I don't want to go to the mountains. I'm a beach boy, not the Beach Boys, good band, but in general, I might have to, because I'm not playing along to this wicked Sodom and Gomorrah society where it's just degenerate, filthy, disgusting, inverted, crime-filled. I mean, what can New York City offer me right now? Nothing. So I don't want to be a part of their sick little society where crime is constantly rising, where they're pushing the opposite of health. They're telling you if you're fit and you want to work at a gym that you're the enemy and you're killing people. And if you're massively obese, that you're the healthiest person in the world. I don't care how big or small people are, but I'm sorry, that's just not how health works. It's like if I see somebody that's like 2 times as strong as me, I don't sit here and say, oh, I'm stronger than you. I have more muscles than you. Like, no, I don't. It's like I'm very self-aware. I'm trying to get healthier. I mean, I'm in pretty good shape, but if I see someone in better shape than me, like an athlete who plays in the Olympics, like Michael Phelps, I'm not going to sit there and say, well, technically I'm healthier than Michael Phelps because I'm on the cover of like, you know, I don't know, freaking like Teen Vogue or something. It's like, no, I'm not. So I don't want to live in inverted Sodom and Gomorrah world where they're medical authoritarians. So I'm eventually going to have to go somewhere else if this keeps up. So why in the world are your heroes, Trump and Sarah Huckabee Sanders, running around the country trying to inject people with the product that they are mandating? They are John Stockton lobbing the ball to Karl Malone to dunk in your face, to then say, well, technically we didn't dunk in your face. Well, technically we think anyone can get. That's not how it works, because you don't control any of the major corporations. You don't control half of the country. And to be quite frank, the places that you do control, all you guys do is lose. You just lose in slow motion. It's like, well, we're Texas. I love Texas. I love the history, the culture. If you look at a Texas Senate race 20 years ago, Republicans are winning by 30 points. If you look at a Texas Senate race with Beto O'Rourke, who's like a skateboarding 50-year-old who pretends like he's 15, they only won by like 1 or 2 points. So all they do is just lose. We can win, but it starts with one, not just pointing to the Democrats and saying, well, that's the game. You get what I'm saying? The Democrats don't know what they're doing. Well, Trump, they're just fighting the right, but they're wrong about almost everything, and they don't realize it. The right's fighting the left. They're right, in my opinion, about more things, but they're constantly just fighting that while the people that are leading them are selling them out to that side. It's like they're behind closed doors shaking hands with big pharma and foreign countries, and you guys think they're fighting China and, you know, Black Lives Matter. It's like they're really not. You know, all these corporations that are pushing this Marxist ideology and this medical authoritarian ideology, they go across all 50 states, and they're a huge part of the economy in a lot of red states. So point I'm getting to is, how do you win? Realize what they're doing and hold your side accountable. Don't yell and cry when I do it. Hold your side accountable. Ask Ted Cruz why he tweeted about vaccine segregation. You know, ask Donald Trump why he's a vaccine salesman, and he's done virtually nothing to stand up against vaccination passports. He brags, never forget, I was the one who rushed the FDA. Oh, trust me, I will never forget Grandpa Moderna. You just blew your entire legacy as one of the greatest presidents in the world to possibly one of the most wicked deceivers in modern history. Did a lot of great things culturally, did a lot of great things, did a lot of interesting moves, but went out like a Bill Gates. Okay. Yeah. You just sold vaccines. Okay. You have the same legacy as him. That's fine. I will never forget. He wants me not to forget. Okay. But in general, hold your side accountable. Ask them the tough questions. Don't just cheerlead your team on. And also, I think at a certain point, whether you're vaccinated or not, whether you support Trump, whether you hate Trump, whether you voted for whoever, I don't even care. If you think this is going to go away with you listening to Mayor Bill de Blasio, it's not, because they don't even know how long this lasts, and they're going to make you get a booster. And if you tell that message to Big Pharma, you are allowed to work with government and lock the country down. I'm not saying they did it specifically. Push your product, get it into everybody's arms, and the government, whether it be local, federal, on a corporate level, can force people to do it or ban them from society. Why would they ever stop? Why would they ever stop? It's like when they get busted for fraud. I mean, if you go to the history of Johnson & Johnson and Pfizer, I mean, Google is your friend. You could find 15 different articles of products taken off the shelf, carcinogens, asbestos, fraud lawsuits, bribery lawsuits. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. They make this much money. They pay this much money. Keep it moving. What's going on? And with this type, they're not going to stop here. Why would they? How much are they set to make? 33 billion or something in revenue this year. Wow, what a sweetheart deal. No liability for side effects or injuries. Zero liability. Could you imagine if you sold a car, or if you had, I mean, I'm sure there are certain deals in certain industries, but if you got a product where it's like, no matter what happens, you're not liable, and the government and the corporations and Mayor Bill de Blasio will force people to get it or ban them from society, you think they're going to stop? Of course, they're never going to stop. So I wish it were the case. There are jabs that I've taken in my lifetime, and there are medications I've taken in my lifetime. Now, with what I know now and what I see that they're doing, we'll see what I would have done then, but I don't regret anything as far as I did it at when it was that time, and it is what it is moving forward, living in the present. But, it's like I'm not anti-medication, but these people are insane, and this is not going to end here. Let me know what you guys think. This is not going to end in New York City either. It never was. And ask Republicans why they're selling you out. Stop clapping for them at Turning Point USA events. Stop cheering with pom-poms for them. Ask them why they're selling the product that's getting forced down your throat and banning you from society, and ask why they're doing virtually nothing and saying virtually nothing about it. Ask them, please stop clapping like seals for these Republicans who are selling you out. And if you're a Democrat and watching this channel, realize it is going to be the Democratic Party, Democratic cities, liberal corporations who are the medical authoritarians the most. Republicans are your only saving grace. If anything, it's not going to be Mayor Bill de Blasio. It's not going to be whatever the hell the guy's name is in LA. It's not going to be the Democratic Party. There is a trend going on. I don't know if you noticed, in Democratic areas, Democratic states, and Democratic cities and Democratic companies, they are doing forced vaccination, forced masking, medical authoritarianism, and that's the trend. The only saving grace is going to be, I'm not going to name states because the people from these states are probably like, don't tell people about this state, but Republican governors, Republican mayors. I live in a Democratic area with a Republican leadership. So I'm going to be fine, probably. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. If I have to move, I'll probably move. But in general, Republicans are the party that are semi-helping you. And if you're a Democrat and you don't realize that your party is by far the worst on this issue, you got to wake up. And I go at Republicans not because I think they're worse. I think they're better. But when better is just going in the same direction, they have to put their foot down, because all we're doing is losing ground. And in 5 years, they're going to act shocked when this new mandate comes. It's like, duh, they've been doing it for so long now. We got to hold our ground and say no and have these tough conversations. Maybe it's time, before I end, maybe it's time to have a tough conversation. I respect my liberal friends and colleagues and corporations. I really do, to some extent. We're not the same anymore. It's fine. Like I don't play. I mean, I do play a lot of sport. I'm trying to think. I don't play water polo, right? But I don't jump in the water polo section and say you guys can't play. This is human nature. We have different cultures. We have different foods. We have different medicines. Everything's different, and that's the beautiful thing. If everything were the same, it would be creepy. So it's a beautiful thing having human nature and different sides of politics. It's time to start having the tough conversations. I don't think we could coexist anymore ideologically. I want to be free. I don't want to put a cloth on top of my face all the time. I want to, not be a slave. I want to enjoy my life. I want to do all these things. And you want to live in a place where you force vaccinate people, bar them from indoor facilities, force masks on people that are unvaccinated and vaccinated. Like, we're not the same. And that's okay. But like, maybe it's time to have these conversations and say, leave me alone and figure out where you want to do this, but I don't want to go there. Republicans need to get tough and smart because Democrats are everywhere and their corporations are everywhere, and Republicans are going to act shocked. It's time to put your foot down and be like, listen, if I were Ron DeSantis, who I think is doing a pretty good job, but in general, it's like, if you want to live that way, go to Los Angeles, go to San Francisco. Don't turn Texas into San Francisco, and don't turn the red areas of Florida into San Francisco. I don't think there's anything mean or wrong about saying this. It's like, I don't want to live like a degenerate in San Francisco. I've been there. The whole city's going downhill. Portland's going downhill. Seattle's going downhill. New York City's going downhill. If you want to live that way, stay there. And if you want to go to a nice liberal area where you can make it happen because, it's a rural or a wealthy area where you don't have that much crime and your ideas work there because you're not exposed to the type of stuff cities are, then do it there. But people in conservative areas, I think, need to get tough and be like, we're not that. We're never going to be that. Try to scare these people away. Be like, you're right. Oh my God. Delta. Go to LA. Oh my God. Oh, there's variants. Oh no, we're not wearing masks. Go there. Go to that state. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's crazy over here. Go to New Jersey. Go to New York. Yeah, for sure. It's wildly. Oh my God. Whoa. Go to San Francisco. Start scaring. Yeah, no, you're right. I'm breathing. No, I'm just kidding. I won't cough on you, but I'm breathing air freely. Oh my, is it scary to you? Then go somewhere else. People need to have this conversation. I have these conversations everywhere I go. Sir, can you wear a mask for 5 seconds when you sit down? No, you can get a 5-minute lecture from me, and I bet you're going to regret saying it to me. You're going to be stuck that way forever, loser man. You want me to wear a cloth over my face for 5 to 10 seconds when I sit down? Is that scientific? Well, no, I know I just listen. Exactly. You just obey. You're a sheep. You're a pawn. You're just a useful idiot. So I'm not eating at your facility, and I'm going to talk shit to you for 5 minutes and make you feel shame because you deserve it. Because it's not just me. I can handle myself. Every kid that you force to do this to, every elderly person, they're not doing it because it's scientific. They're not doing it because it's healthy. They're doing it because you're a bully, you big loser. So, it's time to hold your ground and be like, listen, if you want to live in this sicko Sodom and Gomorrah psycho authoritarian society, stay the hell away from us. And we're blessed in America, folks. This is not Australia. God bless Australia. We don't live in Australia. This is not UK. Well, anomaly, you debated him. He lives in Europe. He should stay there. Okay. This is big boy talk here. We live in America. We got 50 different states, 50 different, slightly different rules. We got all sorts of things. We got mountains. We got rural. It's a beautiful land. It's time to get tough. That's why we have 50 states. We made ourselves to not be like them. So let's stop being like UK and Australia. America, we don't have a one world order or a one nation order. We have, a president who does things federally and can control certain things. And then we have states. So we never acted like we were all the same. We never were. So it's time to start utilizing what the United States is supposed to be. We are 50 different states. If you want to live like a medical psycho, go to New York City. I promise you, I won't miss you. Go to Los Angeles. Go to San Francisco. You can have entire states. Just don't take my area of California. I like the beach. But in general, it's like, let counties do that. If New York City wants to do that, never go there again. Get out of there. That's what I would do, but I'm not going to tell you what to do in general. Let them do what they're doing there and hold down. That's what I want to see Republicans do. We're not doing this. We're not caving an inch. You can live the rest of your life escalating to hell. I'm not going. I'm not going here. I'm not going there. That's the messaging, not half and half. Real quick, if these Republicans really cared about you, two things that they could have done already. One, this is not healthy. You closing down gyms, closing down health facilities, closing down sports. People need that to be healthy. That's the easiest talking point. It's like, how are you going to close down all of these things during an obesity and heart disease epidemic where people are overdosing on pills and our life expectancy is going backwards? They're killing people. I've been saying this for a year. You know why they barely write articles? And I don't want to jinx myself, but it's like, they don't know what to do with me because I would destroy these idiot journalists, and they probably know that. So they leave me alone. And if not, they could find out. But in general, it's like the Republicans are like, well, we're doing the testing and the ventilators. It's like, is that helping you? It's like, okay, the more you test, the more you find. I know Trump said this at one point, but I just want to do a little bit of a mathematics scientific experiment real quick. So I did research, and once again, I have to say this for Facebook. I'm not saying COVID is the common cold. I'm not saying COVID is the flu. I am not saying that. I'm not saying it's worse. I'm not saying it's better or it's whatever. It's less, it's more severe, et cetera, or isn't more severe. You get what I'm saying? I'm not comparing the two. I'm just doing an experiment real quick. And this alone shatters the entire testing situation. If you look up on the CDC website for the common cold, I'm not saying COVID is the common cold. I'm just doing a separate experiment. If you look up on the CDC website, common cold, they say the average adult gets it 2 to 3 times a year. That's the data. 2 to 3 times a year is what the average person gets the common cold. If you see how long do they have it, let's just estimate a week, okay? If you do the math, how many people die in America every year? It's like 2 to 3 million, around that. If every adult gets COVID, if every adult gets the common cold 2 to 3 times a year, do they test for that when you die? They don't. Do they test for that all the time? They don't. I don't know that they test at all for the common cold. Imagine if you replace the COVID test with a common cold test. Everybody everywhere is getting a common cold test, right? Everywhere, every sports arena, every this. You go here, you work here, you do this. As many tests as they're doing for COVID, imagine if they did that for the common cold. And imagine if they said the same thing they said for COVID. Everybody who dies with COVID dies from COVID. That's the data. If you died with COVID, they're just lumping it all together and saying that's a COVID death, okay? And they're not even trying to get to the bottom of it. Imagine if they did that with common cold. Everybody gets a common cold test. If you died with common cold, you died from common cold. Do the math. If 2 to 3 million people die a year and 2 to 3 adults or every adult gets it 2 to 3 times a year, these numbers would spike. Cases would spike, obviously, but deaths would spike if they were doing the same exact type of testing and exact type of, well, if you die with it, you die from it. I'm not saying COVID is the common cold because, to be quite honest, I don't think it is. I think there's different symptoms and there's different things that are happening to people, which are odd. But that's real math. That's real science. If you did the same type of testing and the same type of, well, if you died with it, you died from it. Why is no one saying this? The Republicans are pushing all these mass PCR tests all over the place. We're doing mass testing. Of course you are. You're John Stockton lobbing the ball to Karl Malone to dunk in our faces. And then you're acting like you're not dunking in our faces. We'll all stop the vaccine passport. You're never going to stop a pandemic that involves mass testing to a scale that we've never had before. I'm not saying COVID is the flu, but I've been diagnosed with the flu 3 or 4 times in my life. How many times have I gotten a flu test? I've never gotten a flu test. I've only gotten strep throat tests. So I've been diagnosed with a disease or an illness, and I never had a test for it. Mass testing to this extent, it's never going to go away. And what's going to happen in the winter? I would be shocked if cases don't spike. Why wouldn't cases spike? They used to call it the flu season for 80 years, where respiratory illnesses like the flu became more common. Isn't that going to happen now that the flu disappeared when COVID's around? Isn't that going to happen in the winter? What are you going to do? Lock down every single time? Count cases? Count deaths? Count deaths of vehicle injuries every time on the television. Oh my God, there's more vehicle injuries in a lot of places in America than there are COVID deaths. So what do we do? We could technically sit inside all day, right? We could not drive. The entire country could not drive, and you'd save tens of thousands of lives, probably over the course of time, hundreds of thousands of lives, probably over the course of time, millions of lives. But we don't do that because it's insane. to stop driving, even though there's a risk to it. We could never drive anywhere else, but eventually it would have economic impacts. Eventually it would have health impacts. There's certain things you could hurt yourself playing sports, but if you don't exercise at all, you could also become super big and have all these sort of problems. So there's always risks involved with anything, but they're trying to act like we can lock you down if we send a bunch of PCR tests everywhere and we determine that enough people have it. And then when enough people have it, then we'll go to count the deaths, and then we'll count the cases, and then we'll count the spikes. This is never going to end. Why is nobody saying that? Why is nobody talking about the mass testing? If this were a tree, the root of it would be the mass testing. This is the root of the entire problem, and Republicans are funding mass testing, supporting mass testing, and saying nothing about mass testing. Trump said it one time, which was awesome, but then he flip-flopped like he did on everything in 2020. So it's like those two things alone, if people really wanted to end it, would start having conversations about that. We're in a permanent loop that's never going to end. I'm not playing along. I haven't been for a long time. Let me know what you guys are thinking. I'm gonna read the comments for a few minutes, and then I got to take off. What's it been? 55 minutes. I could probably only stay for like an hour 10. Someone said, my guess is New York City is going to lose a lot of money. Great comment. This is how you could win with your wallet. I'm not going to New York City. I'm not going to Los Angeles. Let Ron DeSantis do better. Let conservative areas that don't force mask and force vaccinate people, let them get the money. That's definitely how you could win. Support people who are being honest, and support areas that are being great. Like I said, I don't patron any restaurant that tried to force a mask on me. I not only didn't patronize them, I gave them an earful of what I thought about it. So if everybody did that, that's definitely one way. Let's see. Someone said New York City would just get another bailout, said Lloyd, possibly. Someone said, do I think the phony vaccine card is just perpetuating the problem? Dustin, here's what I think. First of all, it's illegal. So I try to follow the law. I wouldn't do anything illegal. But also, there's two things. I do think it perpetuates the problem because, in my opinion, that's people caving, right? Well, I have a fake card. First of all, it's illegal. Second of all, you're now giving what they're doing credibility. Like, I'm going to cave to what they're... No, I'm not. I don't have a vaccine card because I didn't get the jab. So I don't want to pretend like I did. I didn't. And I'm not buying into this reality that I'm a horrible person. I'm sorry, but I'm healthier than most of these people who hate me. And that's not going to change just because they get a Pfizer product injected into their arm. Good health is more than just one product. It's a byproduct of how much you exercise, work out, and take care of yourself mentally. I mean, that's just, and spiritually. But not only do I think it's part of the problem, it's not going to work forever because these flimsy cards that people have, I mean, this is temporary. They're going to do a digital system, a QR code, etc. Like, that's what they do for everything. It's going to be digital and not that much time. And these flimsy cards that people are using, they're going to be non-existent very soon. Becky said, anomaly. Check out Dr. Sherry Tenpenny and what she said about the V. She'll be at Huntington Beach at the Freedom Crusade. Appreciate all you do. Thank you, Becky. Check it out. Appreciate you. What do I think if they mandated the vaccine across the USA, going door to door? If they mandated across the USA, I would think there would be a lot of non-compliance. If they went door to door trying to mandate it, I think it would get ugly. I would hope that they don't do that. This is crazy. I mean, I compared it to almonds, and that video went viral. Almonds are very healthy. Listen, I'm not trying to act like everything is bad about medicine. It's not true. Some people take medicine. I know people in my family and other people's families, they take 3 or 4 pills. That's on them. I don't sit around and critique them. For me, though, I don't do that, and I don't want to do that. So almonds are healthy, but for certain people, they have allergic reaction. It's just like any medicine. They know that certain people are going to have a side effect to these vaccines. Jimmy Dore has a permanent, I don't know if it's permanent, but he has a side effect that hasn't gone away for months because his doctor told him to get it, but he was the type of person, due to situations in his body, it didn't go well. They can lie through their teeth all they want. They could take all my money. They could censor me. They could try to do whatever they do. I don't give a shit. I'm never going to lie. I'm never going to back down. I don't care. It's not true. It's not true that this is a one size fits all. It's not true that there's no side effects. They know that there's side effects. That's why they protect themselves from liability for them. So how can they go door to door injecting a product that they know damn well is not a one size fits all approach? It's insane. And as Thomas Massey says, it's violence. Forcing a needle onto somebody is violence. You can't do that. Just like you can't show up to somebody's door with a knife. You can't do that. If people want to get a surgery or people want to get a vaccine, that's on them. And it's always been this idea that they could do this. If people allow it, they could do whatever they want. I mean, they've been stealing your tax money forever. And to me, that's the big thing. As Democrats tax more, Republicans tax more. This is a great example of how Republicans do very little. I mean, at a certain point, there was no income tax. At a certain point, taxation was known pretty much as theft or was very small and minute. You had the Boston Tea Party where they're pissed off over a tea tax. Now, if you look at a Republican tax and you went back 50 years and you told them, this is the Libertarian Conservative Party, they would look at you like, they would like, are you sure that's the Conservative Party? That looks like the thief party to me. So that's what conservatives do. Democrats tax you 40, Republicans tax you 30. Democrats tax you 25, Republicans tax you 20. As the Overton window shifts, Republicans do just enough to do pretty much nothing, to the point where they're always worse than Democrats 10 years ago. I'm not blaming Republicans. I still vote Republican, but this idea that they're saving your life because you love Donald Trump, it's like, it's not true. Check. Is the audio gone or what? Is my audio working or what? Let me know on there, because I got to end this anyway. Give me a thumbs up on YouTube if the audio is working. Give me a thumbs up. Okay, I'm good. Thank you. All right, I'll stay for a few more and I got to go. I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys on on YouTube. Someone said mail-in ballots will be a big part of the recall. It's an interesting dynamic to it. Not ideal. Someone said don't go. I gotta go. I have a friend here. My friend that I went to Colorado with, he's here and he has a job. And he's got to work. So we're kind of, I'm a good friend. We're kind of balancing to make sure that he can work and stuff. So I have to go. It's not a bad thing. Sometimes I talk for too long and I just get pissed off after 3 hours. So 1 hour is enough anyway. But, my friend's job, they're trying to force vaccination on him. It's crazy, but he's standing his ground. He's saying no. So we'll see what happens. But it really pisses me off too, because I have family members that are younger, than me, 21, 22. And they're now being told that they can't play music, they can't go to events if they're not vaccinated. Where it's like, if you're 70, 80, 60, you have comorbidities, you talk to your doctor, you think I care if you get a vaccine? You think I'm going to judge you? No, I'm going to pray for you and I'm going to say, I'm sure you'll be fine, because I'm sure you will be. But it's like if someone got COVID, I'm not writing their deathbed. I'm like, I'm sure you'll be fine. I pray for your recovery. But forcing young adults who have virtually zero, very small chance, the risk benefit analysis, in my opinion, is not worth it. For me, it's not worth it. And I don't want to be, quite frank, I've gotten vaccines in the past and that was the decision I made at the time. Now I might make a different decision, but in general, I'm not anti-vaxxer. I've had certain jabs, but now that I know what I know and I see what I see, I personally don't want synthetic mRNA in my body. I understand the technology. You boost in synthetic mRNA, it builds a spike protein. For COVID-19, seeing multiple people that I know who got it and seeing what it did to them, potentially maybe even have had it myself and not even knew, I don't want to do it. I don't want Pfizer and Moderna to inject synthetic mRNA to build a spike protein. I don't want that to happen in my body. If you do, that's fine. I just, I don't feel the need at my age and my health bracket. I don't want to do that. And I'm not going to do that. So, I don't talk about it that much because it's my business, but apparently it's not my business. Apparently I can't go into your business if it's my business. So that's what I'm doing. Mary said, forced jabs is medical. All right. I hear you. I don't want to read that, but thank you, Mary. ZM said, yeah, we close churches and gyms. The easiest talking point. If Republicans I'm not trying to be rude, but if they were like half useful, we have a huge obesity, heart disease, other disease. I mean, when you close health facilities for that long, you know how hard it is to get a cancer screening now? It's harder than it used to be because they closed down for a year. So people with cancer that kill a lot of people are having trouble getting access to health facilities. People that are overweight have hard access to getting to gyms and health facilities. I'm not going to guarantee because I want to be accurate, but if I were a betting man, I would say lockdowns and restrictions have killed more people than they saved. And are they doing research to find out how many people? If you look up tuberculosis deaths because of diverting medical attention, it's in the hundreds of thousands. This isn't counting the people who got more obese. This isn't counting the people who couldn't get access to facilities. I would bet, if I were a betting man and there were a place to even bet this, that they killed more people with all these restrictions. They don't give a shit. These people don't give a shit. They want as many people on pills. Why, if they care so much about health, how come Taco Bell is the sponsor of the halftime show? How come they don't give a shit? Just eat the Taco Bell, eat the McDonald's, and suck up as many pills as we tell you to suck up. This is who these people are. If they really cared, they would do mandatory workouts. They'd stop advertising fast food and start advertising healthier food that got people in better shape. If you're in better shape, you could probably handle COVID easier. A lot of the hospitalizations for COVID, a majority of them were obesity. A majority of the deaths were in countries with obesity problems. This is not random. This is just basic science and math. But they don't give a shit about you, your family, your health. They don't care. If they cared, why don't they stop the fast food advertisements? Why don't they talk about exercising? When I watch the news, it's like being in hell. It's like warning. It's so toxic. I've had dozens of people that watch my channel say, Anomaly, you talking about stuff and lifestyle and mindset. I lost 50 pounds. I lost 100 pounds. I've had so many stories of people who lost so much weight just because I talk about this type of stuff. You don't see that on the news. They don't talk. They just scare the shit out of you. What does fear do to your immune system in your body? Google it. Negative health effects to fear. You could read it for yourself. What does paranoia and stress and anxiety, what does that do to your body? Not good things. Do they care? Do they give a shit? These people don't give a single shit. Who's talking about this stuff? These people are evil, wicked, horrible deceivers. And I can only imagine what their karma is. And, God have mercy on their sick, tainted souls. Thank you, Jacqueline. ZM said, all right, I got to run, guys. This is my buddy. This is great. Probably better to be short so people could watch it. God bless you. God bless your family. God bless America. God bless the world. I appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in. And once again, I don't care what people do with themselves. I'm not a medical advisor. I don't claim to be. I'm not a financial advisor. I didn't even talk about finances, but that's just what you say when you talk about stocks and stuff. Jokes aside, yeah, I'm not telling people what to do, but this idea that they could force you out of society because you don't get the non-FDA approved injection when it's never going to end, because eventually fully vaccinated people are not going to be fully vaccinated. They're going to need a booster shot. And eventually, if this is the precedence that you set, even if you got this one, now Big Pharma and the government can come together and decide that they can do this with another product. And when does this end? This ends when enough people say no, respectfully. Pharma's made their money. Governments made their money. A lot of these people in Congress have millions of dollars on a small budget. So clearly they're taking lobbyist money, et cetera, and getting bribed. But, you've made enough. You've gotten enough. You've taken enough. God bless you. Enjoy it. Enjoy the fruits of your labor, AKA what you pretty much stole from people and forced onto people. But enjoy yourself. But eventually it's like caving to these people is not going to make it end. It's very clear. I wish it would. But that's where I stand. And as much as what everyone else can do with my life, I would rather move to the mountains. I would rather leave my city. I'd rather leave my state than bow down to these psychopaths. Because to be quite frank, they've become so miserable. I don't even want to be around these people. It's like, do I want to get screamed at to wear a mask in a restaurant? No, I just don't want to eat there because I don't want to live my life in anxiety and fear of you treating me like shit. And then we have a conversation. I can't even see you. I can't even see your face. It's like at a certain point, life is not even fun anymore. You have to be able to take risks. You have to be able to live life. And if you're trying to hide my face and cloth and force pharmacy products on me for the rest of your life, that's not a society I even want to live in. So I'm grateful to be in America where there's a lot of options. And I pray that Republicans, conservatives, and eventually Democrats, take a stand to these psychopaths, lay down the rule. But enough is enough. And this is way too far for me. Let me know what you guys think. And appreciate y'all for being here. I'll be back with a new video probably tomorrow. Have a great day. And don't be afraid. Don't buy into the fear. Stay healthy. Stay happy. Don't let them destroy your mental health. Don't let them destroy your physical health. Enjoy yourself and just, do what you have to do. God bless everybody who's standing up for themselves. God bless everybody who is facing being fired or getting the jab. I mean, it's a 6-6 society, but I'm confident if enough people stand up, they're not going to be able to get away with this. And in general, I think these companies are in for a lot of trouble because a lot of different people have a lot of different demands, even on the vaccinated side, for what they want, and things will never be the same. So I pray for you guys, and I pray that God opens up a door that's even better than what you had if you decide to take a stand for yourself, peacefully, legally, respectfully, but ethically for your own decision. God bless you. I'll be back soon.